Welcome to Whispers After Dark, where the shadows speak and the night listens. Do you believe in ghosts? Not the kind from stories you tell around a campfire, but the kind that watch from the woods when you're alone. The kind that wait in places long forgotten, old cabins, silent trails, vanishing hikers, whispers in the dark that call you by name. What if it's not just legend? What if you stepped off the trail and never came back? Tonight's story is one of those places where something lingers, hungry, patient, and never truly gone. This is The Haunting of Black Hollow Cabin. If you crave stories that chill your spine and linger long after the last word is spoken, you're in the right place. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell, because the night is full of whispers, and you don't want to miss what they have to say. Now, let's get on with our story. She was last seen at the church picnic just before twilight, barefoot, standing at the edge of the woods in a brand new white dress, the kind stitched with care and meant for special occasions. It was old-fashioned even then, lace-trimmed sleeves with satin ribbons tied at the waist, fluttering like pale streamers in the breeze. Her hair was curled, her cheeks flushed from the summer heat, and though she looked every bit the picture of innocence, there was something far away in her eyes, as if she heard a song no one else could. She didn't say a word when she stepped off the grass and onto the trail that led into Black Hollow, just turned, smiled faintly, and walked between the trees. Some folks followed, calling after her. They found one of her ribbons caught on a branch, and a little farther on, her footprints near a creek. A couple of men who looked for her swore they saw something lurking, half hidden in the shadows, watching. No one is quite certain what happened to her, why she walked into the woods following a voice only she heard. But what's certain is this: she wandered too far, lured by the hush of the trees and the promise of something ancient. When she found the old stone well half buried in moss, she paused, and that's when she saw it, one of the feral ones, hunched and watching, and no one heard her scream. Matt Harris wasn't running from anything in particular, just the noise of everyday life. At 32, the pressure of routine had worn him thin, so he took a vacation, packed a fishing pole, a tent, and a week's worth of peace in the Appalachian wilderness. He chose a narrow trail, mostly forgotten. It twisted deep into the forest, untouched, overgrown, just the way he liked it, quiet and still. The first couple of nights were perfect. Matt set up camp beside a cool mountain creek that wound through the rocks like glass. The water was so clear he could see trout flashing beneath the surface. He spent the afternoon casting lines, the rhythmic motion calming, meditative. The trees whispered overhead, and the sunlight filtered through the branches in golden slivers. At night, he cooked his catch over the fire and listened to the forest settle around him. The distant hoot of an owl, the crackle of pine cones in the flames. Peace, real peace, was rare, and out here he'd found it. On the morning of the third day, he packed up and followed a deer trail deeper into the woods. The forest here was older, denser. The path grew narrow and uneven, the trees crowding in like silent sentinels. That's when he saw it. A tree just off the trail. An old one, wide and scarred, its bark thick and cracked. Something had been carved into it, and roughly etched, deep and crude, like it had been gouged in with a hunting knife. And beneath it, in jagged letters, "We took them too." The moment he read it, the air shifted. Cold slid down the back of his neck like ice water under his collar. The forest, once alive with birdsong and the rustling of leaves, had gone dead silent. No birds, no breeze, just the groan of that ancient tree. He stared at the carving a moment longer, a knot tightening in his gut. It felt wrong. familiar in a way that made his skin crawl like something half-remembered from a bad dream. Then, in the corner of his eye, movement. Between the trees, maybe 20 feet off the trail, something drifted through the fog that had begun to creep between the trunks. A figure, thin, dressed in white, gliding more than walking. It moved from one tree to another, vanishing behind the bark, only to reappear a moment later, closer. Matt blinked, squinted. Gone. The fog thickened. The chill deepened, not just on his skin, but in his bones, like the cold had seeped into the marrow. He took a step back from the tree, from the eye. He didn't know why, but something inside him whispered, "Leave. Now." He should have listened. He should have turned back then and there. But he didn't. Not yet. Instead, he took one last look at the carving, one last glance into that wide, watching eye, slung his pack over his shoulder, and moved on, faster now. He didn't notice how the light had dimmed behind the clouds, or how the trees leaned just a little closer than before. He only knew he didn't want to see that figure again, and not long after, the sky began to turn. Clouds rolled in fast and low, the kind that swallowed the sun and flattened sound. The rain hit hard, cold, relentless. Matt tried to hike out, but the trail had turned to mud, and the trees pressed closer with every step. That's when he saw it. An old cabin, half hidden behind a curtain of pine. A candle flickered in the front window, a soft golden glow behind foggy glass. It shouldn't have been there, but it was. Matt approached slowly. The wood groaned beneath the porch. He knocked. The door creaked open. A young woman stood in the doorway, pale, almost translucent. Her long black hair hung wet against a white Older-in-style plain with bits of ribbon and lace. Her eyes were dark, deep, unblinking. Without a word, she stepped aside, and Matt entered. The cabin was warm, too warm. A fire burned in the hearth, steady and silent. The table was already set, fresh bread, a steaming stew, and a glass of red wine. It smelled comforting, like home. He asked if she had a phone or any way to call for help. She shook her head. "No electricity, no phone out here, but my friends are coming soon. They'll take you back with them." Her voice was soft, calm. Something in it scratched at the edge of his instincts. Matt ate. She did not. He asked her name. She only smiled. When the meal was over, she led him down a short hallway to a small bedroom. The bed looked freshly made. The quilt was heavy and handmade. "You should rest," she said. "They'll be here soon." Then she left without closing the door. That night, he dreamed. He lay in the same bed, but the window had no glass, just open space, and outside, figures stared in, dozens of them, gaunt, feral-looking people with matted hair and blank, hungry eyes. They didn't speak, they didn't blink, they just watched. She was in the room with him, standing by the bed, staring down at him. Then the dream shifted. He stood at the edge of a deep, black pit, a well. At the bottom, he saw her. Broken, dead, her limbs twisted, her white dress soaked in blood and rain. And yet she looked up and smiled, but her face was gone. A skull stared back. Matt woke with a gasp. The cabin was silent. The candle had burned down to a nub. The fire had gone cold. It was past noon. He stepped out of the bedroom and stopped. The cabin was no longer warm. It was abandoned. Dust clung to every surface. Cobwebs spread like veins along the ceiling. The table lay overturned. The food rotted. The air reeked of mold and damp wood. Matt staggered outside. In the daylight, the truth was plain. The cabin was a ruin. The roof sagged. Shingles hung like broken teeth. Moss blanketed the steps. It hadn't been lived in for years, maybe decades. But he remembered the warmth, the food, the woman. A dream? A hallucination? Then he saw it, behind the cabin, hidden beneath vines and decay, an old stone well. He moved toward it, slowly, pulled by something ancient and cold. He looked down, bones, scraps of white fabric tangled in the remains. Then he heard his name, a whisper, soft and near. He turned. She stood there looking down into the well. Not alive, not anymore. Her skin was stretched too tight. her dress torn and gray with age, and her eyes, still dark, still deep, were empty. "My friends are here now," she said. From the shadows behind her they came, the feral ones, the watchers. The woods were silent and shadows stretched around him, yet he heard their voices in his head. Slowly he backed away. His foot slipped. As he fell, the well swallowed him, then darkness closed like a mouth. "I told you they would come," her voice a whisper in the shadows that surrounded him, low, soft, certain. He looked up. Faces peered down at him, haunted, hungry. In an instant, her dead, cold face changed for a moment to the quiet and kind girl he had seen the night before. He raised his hand in a plea. "Yes, they will come, but they will never let you leave." And as the lid slid shut above him, her soft laughter followed. The old man sat in the corner booth of the diner, the paper folded in front of him. The headline caught his eye. "Hiker missing in Black Hollow, another mystery or something worse." The reporter's words didn't surprise him. They never did anymore. The link between the disappearance of Matt Harris and the young woman who'd vanished years ago was too familiar. The reporter had even speculated about a possible connection to something else in the woods, the same thing he'd once believed. The ranger's fingers tightened around his coffee mug, the steam rising like a faint wisp of something not quite right. He'd seen this before when he had been sent in to investigate the same place, all those years ago. The same hollow, the same haunting silence, the same tree with the carved eye staring back at him as it always had. He shuddered, remembering the creature in the woods, its shape barely visible through the fog, its presence something no animal could create. It was something older, something patient, and it still waited. He looked out the diner window, the chill of the morning creeping through the glass. He knew one thing for certain now. Some things in the woods weren't meant to be found. And some things didn't let you leave. Truth or legend? Some say the world is full of thin places, where the veil between the living and the dead wears down to almost nothing. And sometimes something not meant to belong in this world slips through. Legends and truth are often hard to separate, because every legend begins somewhere. Every myth has a beginning, and every whispered tale is born from something. Thanks for watching this episode of Whispers After Dark. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, please explore the many others on our channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you think there's truth to the legends? Do you believe in ghosts? Would you dare to venture into the hollow alone? If you would like to hear more chilling stories about the missing of Black Hollow, check out the other videos in our channel. Be sure to join me next time for another eerie journey into the unknown. Until then, stay curious, stay cautious, and beware of the whispers after dark.